Welcome to Meet the Inuit where we explore stories of resilience and empowerment. Today, Dakota House joins us. He's celebrated for his roles in North of 60, and he's the founder of Going Miles, an organization dedicated to empowering youth. Dakota discusses overcoming life's challenges, the positive influences of going miles on the Indigenous communities, and the significance of mentorship and personal growth. He emphasizes the importance of awareness, community, and the persistence in pursuing success. He also discusses how he got his start into acting, and Dakota shares some tips and tricks, and also some insights on how to get started if that's something you'd want to pursue. Join us for this inspiring episode about making a difference, learning from the past, and never giving up on your dreams. Let's dive in. I'm excited to have you here. I think we talked about this before we started rolling. It was like, man, selfishly, I get to meet all these awesome people, and now I get to get all these awesome people and their stories out to even more. So, Dakota, man, it's great to have you on. And if you want to just tell us a little bit about where you're from and your family.
Okay, well, I'm from northern Alberta. I was born in a small town in the north, Manning, Alberta. So where I'm from is situated in between High Level and Manning, Keg River, Paddle Prairie. But my grandma's from Tall Cree, so that's where I got my status from, got my rights from. I was from the south side of Tall Cree, Short Cree.
I
But
understand, yeah.
yeah, I've let's see. At a young age, my mom moved me to the city, and yeah, grew up. A lot of adversity, racism, discrimination, all of that jazz, and been able to navigate through with the help of my mother. I have, and this information that's coming out is some stuff that hasn't really been leaked, let's say. But let's see. I just turned 50. Um, I have 9 grandchildren, and yeah, six children. My oldest is 32. My youngest is 6. So with my grandchildren older than some of my youngest, I've really did it the Indian way, the real traditional Indian way.
Yeah, you couldn't get much more traditional than that, buddy. You got her.
Yeah, but no, things are well. So most of my family's here in the city in Edmonton. So this is my base, my home base. Yeah, and I have the opportunity to travel all over North America from coast to coast to coast, working with our future leaders of today and tomorrow. So yeah, it's always good to be home. And once in a blue, I get the opportunity and time wise to go back home to my roots and get out in the bush and get to do some hunting and stuff. So yeah, my life at this stage is um quite balanced, if you will. This day and age that our young people are growing up, this much music. Well, it's not even much music. It's this computer day and age, this social media day and age, got a lot tougher because all of the things that they're subjected to and everything that they see, it's I guess it's what do you want to call it? An industry standard of how you should look and what you should have and where you should live and all of this stuff, and it's really um, a mind bender and a lack of choice words to use, but it's really got our young people all messed up. So I think at this stage of my life, I feel pretty balanced and being able to pass on knowledge and work with as I like to call them, my extended family, my brothers and sisters from other mothers and misters. When we talk about, when we look at that, some people, especially when I'm doing it, I'm like, my brothers and sisters from other mothers and misters. Really, we need to look at each other as extended family members. We've been put through the ringer as a people, and it's all about it's been divide and conquer, and you know. I mentioned to you before, the program of isolation, segregation, separation, assimilation, colonization, which is the greatest form of manipulation, right? And since first contact, when the wedges started to be driven in and the divides start to happen, you know. I mean, it's quite relevant and prevalent out there today, and it's so important that we pass the message and the knowledge on to say, hey, listen, we need to fight a good fight together. But yeah, with all of that being said, my base is here in Edmonton, and I am from the north. I do have my traditional background. You know, I love going out hunting and um, know how to do all that, the harvesting, sweats, ceremonies, do that, and yeah, I even made myself a flute, or I play a flute, but I made myself a rattle. So yeah, I do have a couple of set of skills that I like to utilize.
Holy man, that's deadly. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's great. And I know we'll get into it more of all the work you do in communities and especially with the youth. It's pretty special to see. And especially all your grandkids and your kids and I mean 50. I can't even believe it, man. I feel like I grew up with you, but then I look in the mirror like, "Oh yeah, you're getting pretty old there too, buddy." It's it's amazing to see and it's great to see you on this side of it too, especially just watching just lately, right, like all the stuff about child stars and growing up around the industry with TV and movies and stuff
Mm.
and how it messes a lot of people up and it's
Oh
good to
God.
see that you're while you're here 50 your family you're balanced it's quite awesome to see because there's a lot of people that it really eats up and spits
Whew.
out.
Well, you know what? I came out the other side of the rabbit hole pretty good. Jeez, and I completely understand and I know about that, and I've seen uh I've seen downward spirals right into oblivion and right into the to the world, if you will, and yeah, it's terrible. I mean, if you're not in control of your and I think the biggest thing that we need to be aware of is our ego, right? When our ego starts controlling us, you're out of control. And when you think that you're in control and your ego is in control, there's a major problem going on there. But it's just like our emotions. We always hear you. Oh, you made me mad, or you did this, but you're in control of your emotions as well. So if you get mad, it's triggers and stuff that you haven't dealt with yet, and you need to understand and being able to harness and taking a step back and being able to look in and say, okay. And I guess where I've been fortunate enough was being in the film industry because you need to wear your emotions on your sleeve. You need to be able to call on them. You need to be able to act them out as real to reality as you possibly can, right? So studying human behavior and understanding yourself and knowing yourself where you portray, a character on TV and it looks real and it sounds real, and people go, holy cow. There's been a number of times where I've had to duck out of slaps like, whoa, holy cow. Or I have Cookum saying to me, you're just like my grandchild. And I'll be like, oh, he's an actor, and they go, huh? What are you talking about? So, yeah, but it's been great. But I think when we do understand our ego and we're able to control it and our emotions and stuff, yeah, it puts us more in the driver's seat.
Oh man, for sure. And that when you're talking about that really made me think too, because I went through a lot, especially with trying to get back on track and get drinking sorted out, and thankful that I am moving in the right direction with that. It was great, but a lot of AA meetings, a lot of different things, and it's when you bring up ego is kind of the best fight I had with my ego because it was
Oh,
always
yeah.
like, Kate, this time I blacked out, did this. Is like, Kate, well, that was just beer. Maybe I'll switch to if I drink whiskey this time, I'll be better. Or if I drink to vodka, I'll be better.
Oh
Like
God,
thinking of my ego that I could like control this monster, hey, like I
we're
have control over this. Like, oh, every time, obviously, it just
yeah,
fell on its face
yeah.
and crashed and burned, right? But
Well, we
just yeah.
consistently justify, right? We
Oh,
justify why, and it's just like, yeah, until we're in control. But did you know that the word alcohol comes from the Arabic word akul, and that means akul means eater of souls.
I believe it. I believe it because
Oh man, that
that's
just gives
certainly what
me
happened to
that
me.
just gives me chills, man, because they say everything has a spirit, and what was taught to me is every time you have a drink, it pushes your spirit out a little bit more, a little bit more. When you have those blackouts, that's when your spirit's been completely pushed out and another entity takes you over.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
that's oof,
proud to
too.
say this is 20 years for me, brother.
Well, congratulations. That's massive, and yeah, I know that better than most, man. That's crazy.
Oh
That's
yeah, no.
again 20 years. I'm really proud of you. That's awesome to hear,
Whew,
and just hearing you talk, right, and your energy and the balance, and I feel it. It's great. Um, okay,
long
well,
road, long struggles.
oh no, I yeah, I could
But we're only human
imagine.
beings, right?
Yeah.
I think we're too busy beating ourselves up over stuff that we did. But you know what? When we're born, we know nothing, and everything that we know is stuff that we've learned along the way. Being able to decipher and push things out and let them roll off our back and take hold on to the good and release, because just like I was saying a little bit earlier, we're force fed so much information, you know, and it's hard to see through all of the smoke and mirrors. But once we do, brother, boom,
Oh,
becomes real clear, and then you could use everything that you went through as someone else's survival guide, and they'll be helped by your life.
it's that's the biggest thing, and much like yourself, I've been trying to do that of just whether it's career, life, journey, relationship. It's try to help as many as we can.
That's
That's the
it.
whole point of this, and again, very grateful for having you on here. And I was just gonna say, I'll be in trouble if I don't ask, so I gotta ask this right away. Is like North of 60, uh, man, grew up. That was life, buddy, and then TV. I was like, holy cow, this guy,
I'm
can't
proud of
believe
you.
it. What
You wanna see something?
yeah.
Just don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You still there?
Oh yeah. I ain't going nowhere.
Dun, 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 dun.
Holy man, buddy.
There we
Could
go.
we were just talking about that yesterday. I was telling people at work, I'm like, man, I get to talk to Dakota House tomorrow. And right away, everyone's like, ask him about his jacket. It's like,
Oh, there you go, folks.
how'd they let you keep that, or you just run off with it?
No, I was well, because of my character. I mean, of course, people had a bid on it, but as soon as they retired the jacket, I had first dibs, which is rightfully so. So yeah, I got a little piece of uh, iconic Canadian history there. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Oh, that's deadly, man. That's
yeah,
awesome.
cool, hey.
Oh, worth the wait. I was like, oh, what's this guy gonna show me? I'm like, I'm not falling for that again with these guys on video. But no, uh, but no, that's awesome. And like I say, I mean, to be typecast like that a little bit, right? Like I know that follows you around, and I'm sure people say TV a lot to you and think that's probably
Well,
your real name. But
you know what?
um,
It's like I, it was an honor being part of that ensemble, and that's what people relate to the most, right? So when I first started doing the show, people would be like, "Hey, TV!" I, of course, my ego was in control of me. I'd be like, "It's Dakota." uh,
yeah,
I was my character, was hence, but you know, being when people recognize you off the show, I mean, it's such a blessing, and I try to give everybody, you know, give them that time, because it was the fans, and the fans are the ones who really made the show. But yeah, so I don't care what you call me, as long as you call me, all right. We're good.
oh, buddy, that's awesome. With that's great. With that role, like when you look back on it now, especially with all the traveling you're done, with all the communities
Mm.
you've been in, and the people you've been helping. Do you feel like that was a pretty good representation of what that life would be like, or what it was showing people at that time?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I think the most important thing was people in mainstream. It gave people a real opportunity to see that, hey, you know what, we're not so different. You know, we're dealing with the issues and the topics like teen pregnancy and alcohol, and you know, I think there was even suicide, and but that is not uh that is not pigeonholed to one culture, one people. That's right across the whole board. And when we start to see and know that, hey, we're not so different than you, it really was an eye opener for mainstream society and for our people. It was groundbreaking because this was our show. This was something that depicted us to the best, best representation. We had consultants from the north as well, and there was a community in the territories that our show was actually based on. So our writers would go up and spend a number of months in these communities or this community and then transform all the stories into scripts. So it was it was true to life. Um, not only that, I mean, some of the people who I've run into, like Cookham saying, "You remind me just like my my grandson," or I have RCMP officers who say, "You know what? That show inspired me to be an RCMP officer." So it's been again groundbreaking and just an absolute honor to be part of that ensemble. And the work that I'm doing now, my film career has been a vehicle to get me to where I need to be, taking that next step. So I always used to think, okay, later on in my career, in my you know I guess very successful career. Thank goodness, praise, thank God and Creator, Muntu for the blessings. But while I was doing the show, it was probably about a decade into it. I was doing some other stuff, and I started thinking, I'm supposed to be doing something else. Like I started having this calling, like a very successful, lucrative career in the film industry. That was my 9 to 5 job. It was my everyday, and I started thinking that I should be doing something else. So fortunately enough, the frequency and the vibration was strong, and I was able to answer that. And then Going Miles was born. So that was 2004 when I started my sobriety, and that's when I also started Going Miles, and that's when I stepped away from the film industry, right after the last North of 60 show was done. But I mean, I didn't completely step away, but enough to give me focus and clarity on what I was supposed to do and what I was meant to do. So, yeah,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And again, we'll get into it a little bit more, but yeah,
yeah.
that certainly can certainly see all the correlations with that and all the skills even built up with that too, right? And now being able to present that to the youth and give them something to look forward to or look up
Mm,
to and something to aspire to is awesome. Before that though, I wanted to touch base more again with back to the acting a little bit. Like how did a guy how did a guy like you, how'd you get into that, or how did they find you, or were you where did that come about?
um, let's see. I was 17 and I was going to join the army. So I had a background in martial arts, um, an amazing shot, knew my way around the bush, and all of these things. I thought, okay, what am I going to do with my life? And that's when I started thinking, okay, I'll join the army and I'll become a fighter pilot or a black ops guy. That was my idea. And a number of months before my 18th birthday, my mom in fact saw an ad in the paper looking for native actors and models, and I had no experience in either of the field, but I thought, okay, mom wants me to call, so I'll call. And as like most Indigenous youth or people, for that matter, we tend to hear no a lot, you know, and we have to work harder than the average Joe, to I guess to take our place or to keep in track with the rest of mainstream society. So when I called and I heard yes, come on down for an audition, I was just blown away because you don't really hear yes a lot, right? So went down, I did an audition, and I got a call back. I didn't realize that having a callback means that they're really interested in you. Did my second callback, and then I got offered an acting scholarship. After my scholarship was over, boom, I landed my first movie, which was called Diviners, and that was a book that Canadian author Margaret Lawrence wrote, where I played Tom Jackson's younger version. So by doing Diviners, I met Tom and kind of took me under his wing, and yeah, brought me into the inner circle. And yes, right after that show, Ann Wheeler, who directed it, told this other director who was doing Medicine River, and Medicine River was a book written by Thomas King, another Canadian author, Indigenous. And I got a part in that movie, and then right after that, auditioned for North of 60, and that was, yeah, life changing. But it was my mom. It was my mom who pushed me, and you know, opportunities are all around us. So if I could make it and go through so much adversity to get to where I am today. Like anybody could do it. I have a story that just resonates with everyone because on one side, we hear, you know, do this, do that, you can do this, you can do that. Then on the other side, which is ourself, right? I mean, the one that stands in our way the most is our own selves. So having having the opportunity for my mom to be with me, be there for me, and push me through. But I guess the point there being is we can do and we can be anything that we want. Life is what we make it, not what it makes us. You know, I come from a small community. I was grew up in the inner city, a block off Skid Row, and you know, like if I could come from those circumstances and um, be as successful as I am, then anybody can do it. So keep your head up and don't ever count yourself out. You know, don't listen to what mainstream society has to say because it's in here.
Holy cow. Yeah, no, you nailed it, man. There's so much of that, hey, and just yeah, if you can get out your own way, just possibilities are endless. And
Oh my
I
goodness, yeah.
yeah, and again, I'd go like back with youth. I've been preaching so hard about that with people to even with trades and STEM fields, right? Just trying so hard to get more youth involved. And I know there's a lot of barriers. I mean, I hit every one of those barriers with
Mm,
education and transportation and opportunities, all these things, right? But
yeah,
it just takes that extra step, and so many are so capable, but a lot of self, a lot of ego is really holding a lot of people back, and it's
yeah,
not good. So breaking through that is a big mission of mine, and you've been talking about it here a little bit, mentioning it, like going miles is, I think that is really helping and giving these youth an opportunity to see past themselves, get out of their own way. I've seen a lot of the activities you do or kind of help people, you know, whether you got to get silly or get out there. Or I always picture, you know, the girls, or I guess probably guys too, right? You got your face in your hoodie, the sleeve, and just like, oh, leave me alone, like so shy, right? But when they come out of their shell, it's like, holy cow, you got so much to
oh,
offer.
oh my
It's
God.
got to be awesome to see all the time you put in those workshops. So maybe yeah, if you can mention a little bit about that and what that looks like with going miles.
Oh God, you know, it's so gratifying. MILES is actually an acronym for Motivate, Inspire, Lead, Empower, Succeed. So going miles. Um, our website is goingmiles.org, but yeah, we definitely go miles, like coast to coast to coast. I think one of the most gratifying things, like I was just mentioning, like you were saying, is seeing the eyes light up these kids. Because sometimes you come in and the energy is so heavy for the trauma and the drama and everything that they've been dealt, you know. And not only that, being connected to the internet and seeing what's so good on the other side of the world, right? But and that's the thing I think that they don't understand is people who are putting content out there, they're only showing the good. They're not showing the bad, you know, and it really sends uh, a one-sided picture of what's going on out there. But that reflection on the young people is so devastating because they have in their, you know, in their mindset that they're in the middle of nowhere, and the, you know, the look, um, what's the word I'm looking for? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. The perception that they have, right? They come from the middle of nowhere, but in reality of it is they're in the center of everywhere. Okay, and the knowledge that they're learning and the teachings that they're getting is to help them to take those next steps outside and beyond. But when we're being clouded and distracted by all of the stuff that's going on, you really feel it. I'm pretty sensitive to energy, so when we come in and we feel this heavy energy, right away we start walking around doing greet and meets before we even start the workshop, making feel people feel more comfortable. And then we incorporate a little bit of magic, and we have Scott Ward, who's hypnotist, first Indigenous hypnotist in the world. We got Pookie G on board, who does her hip hop concert right in the communities. And Dre is our youngest member at 19. But having this group of four, our core team, we really it's a one-stop shop. It's a show. It's a workshop in a box. We got the entertainment. We have the interactive, engaging workshops. We give things away. We incorporate magic and a little bit of martial arts, and just continually shifting gears and raising the bar to give our future leaders the best of us that we can. And not only that, I think the most important thing is they see that we're drug and alcohol free, that we're indigenous, that we're no different than them, and that they could do and they could be anything. When they hear that I come from a small community and where I am today, it's just like to see that twinkle in their eye restored, to see the self-esteem and the confidence raising up just right before your eyes. It's like it's miracle stuff. Honestly, it's like and then like getting messages years later saying, "Hey, Dakota, thank you so much, man. If it wasn't for you, I don't know where I'd be. I was on a dark path." And those all those little things really make it that much more gratifying. And it's just like you know I I always feel so blessed, and I always give thanks for where I am and the work that I'm doing. And our kids, they need role models to look up to. It's like we talk the talk, but we also walk the walk. So we're all on the red road, and this is let's see, 2004 is when I started going miles, and we're in 2024 right now. So I've been doing this for that for that long, and it's like it doesn't get old. It doesn't get old. I always have this excitement about going into the communities and working with these kids, because later in life these are going to be the doctors and the chief and council, and these are going to be the people who are running the show, right? When I say my brothers and sisters from other mothers and misters, and the future leaders of today and tomorrow, it really gives them a look into that scope that I am taking the next steps. And this is, you know, these are the founding moments in my life where trajectory of where I'm going can really change if I don't pull it together, right? It's like it's best they learn from our examples of the crap that we went through versus them going through it themselves, right? So, uh, again, blessed to be able to travel all over the country, and at the same time, I think it's important that that we know that it's also a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice that we make, being away from our families and our kids and our grandkids and our homes and our spouses. It's a sacrifice for sure. And you're traveling a lot when you're at home and you get up in the middle of the night and you're looking around going, what the heck, what hotel am I in?
Oh,
But the good with the bad, it's the yin and the yang, it's the balance, it's the way of the universe, it's how it works. We focus on the good things and give thanks to where we are and what we have, and try not to lose that. And it's an everyday battle. Keep telling yourself that you can achieve, that you can do good, that, you love yourself, that you are good enough, that no one and nothing will stand in your way. When we start saying all of these things to ourselves, giving ourselves these positive affirmations, it really does build up our spirit and helps us to um, achieve and succeed at those higher levels because we're so used to saying, "Oh, I'm so stupid. I'll never get out of here." Can't do it. Can't do it anymore because the vibrations that we speak, it's the law of attraction. What you put out there, whether it be from your thoughts or your words, is what you're going to receive back, and that is the honest truth. So believe in yourself, tell yourself good things, and fake it till you make it. You know, fake it till you make it, and I guarantee you, and I promise you that things will turn around for you. If they're not in a good space, change your vibration, change what you're doing, smudge yourself down. Smudge yourself down and give thanks for everything that you do have today and not the things that you don't have. It's because it's like if you never had it before, why do you need it now? Let's just like give thanks for what you have right now, and the good things will start to come, and you'll see it and you'll feel it.
Oh, I feel like I could run through a wall. Never mind.
Yeah.
No, I like it. Thank you. And again, I think I mentioned this when we were talking before, right? And I selfishly started this podcast so I can speak with people like yourself and a lot of the other past guests I have of just the stories and the inspiration that they have. And there's always common underlying factors, right? Like most, and even a lot of other people talk about this, right? Like everyone likes that underdog story. Everyone likes seeing people kind of come through the dark and see the other side and see the light. And most people I talk to now are on the other side of that, and you can learn so much. You mentioned that about past journeys and past mistakes,
Mm,
and even speaking with you, speaking with my own children, right? Like I've made every mistake out there, but you have to learn it. You have to live it as well, right? There's gonna be some lived experience in that, but being there to catch them, help them through it. Know that they don't have to keep making that same mistake,
uh,
right? It doesn't have to be
yeah,
on repeat. Yeah, you can make it once, make it twice, whatever, but you
yeah,
don't have to stay stuck in it like so many, right? And try to find a way out like ourselves and not having some of those people around. So I just want to make sure that people know that there's people out there that they can lean on, right, and support, and
mm,
also seeing the inspiration and knowing there's groups like yourself and your whole and the whole clan, right, that you got going on. And it's pretty sweet to see. Is 2024 quite is it been kicking off already
oh
for the
boy.
workshops and the groups?
Yeah, it started off in January, early January, and usually it doesn't start vamping up until March. But yeah, after the pandemic and stuff, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Again, part of the program: isolation, segregation, separation, assimilation, colonization, which is the greatest form of manipulation, right? By putting that in place, and it's like people who never went outside before, but when you're told you can't go outside, then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh my God, I can't!" It's like you never went outside anyway, right? So when we look at stuff like that, I guess more of understanding the program and accepting and being able to speak about it because a lot of people hold stuff in and they don't really openly speak about it. But when you openly speak about and talk about stuff, it promotes that healing. It helps other people to understand as well what they're dealing with because when you look at the grand scheme of things, it's we're all dealing with the same issues, the same topics, and that's coast to coast to coast. But with the program in place, it's like people think that no one can understand them, no one could fathom what they're going through or what they have been through, and they kind of keep that to themselves, and it really affects the confidence and it keeps those blinders on, and we need to break out of that. And by breaking out of that, you see that we're all the same. Like I I went through so much to get to where I am today, and we're only human beings. Do not beat yourself up, but look at the teachings along the way because every step that you have taken to get to where you are today, there's 1,000 teachings behind there. And if we don't see the teachings that come from it, then it's all for naught, right? So you got to go back and relive it all over and over and over and over until you can see the light and go, oh my God, wow, okay, all right, now I see it. So, and I guess that comes with experience too, but when you can hear that from someone who says, okay, I've been there, I went through it, and every step, as much adversity that you have been through, has all been teachings and knowledge to get you to where you need to be. So that can help somebody else on their path, right? Where I guess we're all knowledge keepers, and that knowledge is not for us to keep, but to pass on. That's like elders, right? Knowledge keepers, and they pass that on to help other people on their path and their journey. Just like all of us, you're a knowledge keeper, I'm a knowledge keeper, and the knowledge that we have is to help better the lives that we touch, the people who come in contact with us. And if we can give them something to think about, or to raise their vibration, or to let them help them to get through a difficult time, then you know what, we're doing a good job. Of course, always being aware of distraction. It's all around us, so we can't lose sight of that, right? Yeah,
Oh,
it's like quickly, if we did, yeah, this is just a quick example of distraction and being force-fed information. And I say this in the workshops. It's like because I look back at my sobriety, right? And mainstream society makes it look like it's an accepted pastime, an accepted social pastime. That's what mainstream society makes alcohol look like, right? Alcohol is the leading cause of some of the most violent deaths, broken homes, child apprehension, some of the most heinous crimes that you could imagine. Um, and not only that, alcohol comes from the Arabic word akul, which means eater of souls, right? So when we look at that and we think, it's like, holy cow, why is that even legal? You know, if you're watching, and here's here's the distraction. Here's the point that I'm making. So I want everyone who's seeing this to take this into account. The next time that you're watching a hockey game or any sports game, what I want you to do is I want you to count how many times you see alcohol associated with these sports. These are the finally hardest working athletes in the world. Alcohol has nothing to do with that at all. But it will be pumped out there. It'll be put on every second commercial. It'll make it look like it's part of this, part of that, and people associate that with that, right? So we're being brainwashed and desensitized into what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So again, the program, being aware of it and understanding it, you'll see these things being pumped out all around you. When you do see that, the light will come on and you'll be like, holy cow, the blinders come off, and it's just like we become so much more aware of our presence, and um, how mainstream society tries to control mass population, and by that, one of the greatest distractions and depressants that there is out there, right? The gateway to all illicit and all these hard drugs and whatnot is through alcohol, in my point of view, and it just nothing good ever comes from it. So everyone who's watching, take a moment for yourself when you're watching the game tonight or tomorrow. You know, count how many alcohol commercials are on, and they make it all sound so good. Oh, the king of beers, enjoy it with your friends, Captain Morgan. The way Captain should. Oh, and it just like the slogans and the sayings that come with it, man. It just I see it now, and sometimes I used to look back and go, what took me so long? But I had to go through all of that. I had to go through all that to be where I am today. You know, I used to beat myself up. You know, go, oh my God, why? But if I didn't go through all that, I might not even be here.
yeah. All of that makes so much sense, man. And I used to tell people that a lot and still do, right? Of especially myself, anyway, my own circumstances. Like I love drinking, I'm just no good at it, right? And the numbing effects of all of it, right? It was just I love
All
that
right.
feeling until that I can't control it, right? Yeah, there'd be so much self talk. You're good, you're good, you're good, and then all of a sudden light switch, and then I'd wake up somewhere or wake up in my bed. How'd I get here? Whatever, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just so embarrassing. And then obviously the anxiety that goes along with it during the day of my
Mm.
gut being so sore from what did I do last night, or who did I say, or what did I say, and then
Yeah.
have to have another drink to make that go away, and it's just a
Right.
perpetual cycle, right? And it just
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, that being one, I mean, it's one of the biggest depressants. A lot of people don't know that, like binge drinking. When I was growing up, I thought binge drinking was, part drinking for days and stuff. But it wasn't until I quit drinking that I actually found out that binge drinking is having four or more drinks at one sitting. And I was a binge drinker. I never
oh
sat down to have one because I didn't like the taste of it anyway. If I couldn't get drunk, I wasn't going to start. Right. And I also found out that being the one of the greatest depressants, that alcohol is in your system for 14 days after the fact. So 14 days of depression. Brutal. Brutal. It's like, man, I look back today and go, holy cow, how did I do that to myself, man? I can't even imagine, but you know what? The good thing was I came out the other side with my life, missing a piece of my ear, but you know,
oh wait, wow,
um,
that's is there a story behind that or what? Or
oh my God, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was Mike Tyson in the third.
oh, that'll happen.
Yeah, it was crazy. When I was 27, maybe 28. Anyways, yeah, it was a long time ago. I got jumped. I got jumped by six guys in a 2x4, and they smashed my head in.
Oh, never mind. I heard about that actually.
Yeah,
There's
it
in
was
the
that was national news. That went
yeah.
coast
Was
to
that in
coast. It
was it
was
in Vancouver or was it in
no, that
Edmonton?
happened in here in Edmonton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, that made front page from coast to coast to coast. It was crazy. I was in the it's an intensive care for a month. I saw the white light. I had a near death experience. I saw the blackness of hell. I was right there, man. I was in this long hallway and I was right in the middle of both of it. And I was like creator saying to me, okay, which way do you want to go here? I was teetering. It was a waker upper. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see how that would definitely jar you loose, eh, from a lot of things.
Whew. Boy. Yeah.
Well, that's well. I mean, it sucks that you got to take a 2x4 to the head to get that, but
Well,
sometimes that's what it takes, right?
you know what? And I was the guy that said that would never happen to me. I'm too smart for that. I grew up fighting, and then I took formal training, and I was the guy who thought I seen that before. That'll never happen to me. I lied to myself the whole time, and then it did happen to me, and yeah, it was beat to an inch of my, maybe less than an inch, maybe a millimeter or a 100,000th of a millimeter to my life. So yeah, seeing the blackness of hell and feeling that evil and the fear coming from it, and the serenity of the white light, and being right in the middle of both. I was definitely teetering, and yeah, that and again, just like you said, it's sad that we have to go to that extreme until we go, holy cow, okay, all right, I see now. It's like, so in my stories when I'm doing the workshop, that I do talk about that, and it really gives kids the opportunity to see, and a lot of them experienced it or have seen it before, right? So it's everywhere. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
certainly, certainly, and I mean, you touched on it too a little bit before, with especially with social media and distractions, and
Oh God.
us kind of being like that last generation, right? Of growing up without internet and a lot. Like I remember
Yeah.
I joked about watching North of 60 lots, but all I had was channel 3 and 8, right? So it was like CBC or CTV, right? So it was like pick your
We
poison.
were forced to watch it.
Yeah, so realistically, I don't even know if I liked the show, but hey, it was something I watched. So no, just kidding, it was deadly. But no, with that, and then like you didn't have all the internet, and again, the highlight reels of people's lives, you didn't have that, right? You had your friends, you biked to their house, you see what's going on, and that was
Oh,
really
good.
just the start of video games too, right? So like
Yeah,
you'd play video games, but you had to be together to play the video games, right?
yeah,
And you'd
yeah,
be chilling out and everyone be together. So
yeah.
it's and then now learning that process and moving into this age that we are, like I see a lot,
Mm,
myself included, like I'm not I talk about it a lot, but I mean, it still happens to me where you get scrolling or something, or your kids are, you just need somewhere to disconnect, right? So you're just stuck on your phone, and your kids are either playing video games or watching YouTube or something. And it just like can see how fast it all happens. It's okay. My wife, I'm really fortunate because she'll jar everything and just be like, "Okay, we're going outside," and then everyone
yeah,
goes outside, right? And
yeah.
we do something different. But like you say, you have to change the energy, change the vibes, right? And I'm really lucky to
Mhm.
have that. Where a lot of people don't have that, and you just get stuck in those cycles, right? And it just keeps going downhill. And especially physically, right? Like that's probably my big thing is like physical, then that'll help your mental. But you talk about
Mhm.
martial arts, you talk about getting moving, hunting, getting in the bush. These kids, like I see them everywhere in youth, especially like native youth. I mean, myself included. I was there. All I drank was Pepsi and had some KFC. Like my mom was giving me KFC, so she was thinking she was doing good, right? Like she's like helping my boy. I got to feed my boy. You're hungry,
Yeah,
my boy, and like, but like not really good food, right? So I was like
yeah,
this little fat ass running around, but
yeah.
you see it everywhere now, like more and more, right? Like all these youth are so big, and
Mm,
it's not healthy, right? And it's got to be it's hard, and then that leads into the bullying, and it leads into like not being physical.
mm,
Then they don't learn how to properly defend themselves, or like like martial arts or fight. I'm a big one on that one, whether it's boxing, jujitsu, karate, whatever it is, right? Just get them some form of some
yeah,
self-defense.
yeah.
But yeah, no, there's so much tied to that, and I just see it a lot with it's youth blanket statement. It's youth all over, and but
Mm,
you see it very. I see it because that's the world I live in. Is so much Indigenous youth are stuck in those patterns, right? And not having those role models. So it's pretty awesome to hear that with going miles, at least get out there and get in touch with some of these kids, right? And they can see another way. Yeah, they might get that idea beat down at home or whatever it is, but they know, at least they know, and they see people, and they see people in the flesh too, right? It's not just
mm,
watching a YouTube video or something like that. Like it's like they can see you, they can
yeah,
shake your hand, they can high five you, whatever that
yeah,
is, and they know that that person's
yeah,
real.
yeah. Yeah, you probably see it as much as me as well. Like you go out for dinner with the family and you look over at a table and all heads are down and everyone's on their phone, and it's just like it's a rule that we have. Like when we go out to eat, all devices are put away. We can talk, we can ask how the day was, we can, recap on certain things and stuff. So we we make that a staple. Of course, just like you said, with the games and everything that are going on today, it gets out of control really fast. And if you're not aware of it, or you don't put the effort to be aware of it, by the time you do come aware, it's things are so far gone. It takes a long time to correct them. It's like
It is, yeah.
games
It
are
is.
not supposed to be a babysitter. They're supposed to be there for momentarily fun, or enhancing your eye-hand coordination, or thought-provoking things that you have to do in certain sequences and stuff, but know not
Yeah.
to be living on that. And it's, yeah, yeah.
8, 10, 12 hours a day, right? And using that as a babysitter, and it's the greatest crutch for especially like an alcoholic parent, right? Like I mean
Oh,
that would just take out so much. Like, oh, okay, I'm feeling shit, like go play your games, and then
go on the
that's
game. We'll
yeah.
see you
And
tomorrow.
they're safe, they're upstairs not doing nothing, but at the same time you're just like, holy cow. But then that's what I see, right? Like I've been harping on so much about youth, and I'm giving all these opportunities and basically putting things on silver platters for STEM fields or for trades or anything like that. And I'm projecting a lot of my own feelings and issues on that as well, of wanting to see more and wanting to see better and wanting to see change faster and moving things. And I've talked to a few elders, and well, every elder I talk to always tells me like it's patience. You got to be slow. You have to know that things are moving. You just can't rush it. So it's been quite the battle that way.
Mm,
But at the same time, it's very frustrating for a guy like me. Like I'm not very well educated. I'm not all these things, but the only thing that made me successful in what I do, or whatever you want to call it, semi-successful, is was I can work, right? And I could work hard at something and go
Mm,
A to B really fast and get results. And that's how I was able to mask. This is me in my own head, like being able to mask a lot of those, not being able to read good and not being able to spell and my math is horrible, like all these things, right? And I could mask all of that
mm,
education part with like, yeah, but look at these results I get so fast, right? I can build things, I can do things for you. So that was a way for me to get a seat at the table and mask a lot of my own insecurities. And
mm.
now I'm seeing a lot of youth and stuff, and it's like, man, even if you just give a quarter effort, you could be so far ahead, and you're so intelligent. Like if you just used a bit of that, it could go so far. But
Yeah,
it's all wrapped up in so much trauma, so much everything, right? Lack of role
yeah,
models, lack of anything. So
yeah,
it's frustrating, but at the same time it's invigorating. And that's what I told you before, is like I enjoy these conversations because it like picks me back up and I get away from that cynical mindset a bit, right? And knowing that there's people out there doing good, and that and you just got to keep on that path and keep moving forward, right?
yeah. Well, it's just like I told you, it's an everyday battle, right? We have to be able to see it and to know that as long as we're up on it, we can see the distractions that are happening and then push them. Use our mental, our mind's eye windshield wipers to brush them away. But when we're able to do that, it makes us feel good. I think when we get into that routine, it gets easier and easier. And I just heard a lot of the stuff that you were talking about and being able to mask and to put this stuff away. It's like, brother, everything that you went through has allowed you to be where you are. So you don't have to mask it, man. You're doing what you love and you love what you do. That's the bottom line right there. Your message is reaching so many people out there, that's giving hope, that's giving that motivation for them. And you, my friend, have and are doing so much right now to reach so many of our people. You're not sitting and you're not thinking about it, you're actually actioning it and you're getting out there. So respect, brother, respect.
Oh, it's deadly, man. Well, thank you. And yeah, it definitely goes both ways. I'll be cognizant of your time here. Just the only I've been talking about a lot, is the only other question I really had was with mentors in your own life. Like, what did you see? And you mentioned your mom was a big one. Was there anyone else that kind of influenced you in a certain way?
Yep, Bruce Lee.
I think you could say that to a lot of people there. A lot of people would say that.
When I was in 1984, I remember that's when I saw Kung Fu Summer, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. That's when I was turned on to Bruce Lee. He was and his philosophies, and I just inspired to be just like. I mean, yeah, I got pretty good. I got pretty good really quick because it was something that I could relate to and something that I just devoted all my attention to. But yeah, my mom, Bruce Lee, my mushum, my grandfather was huge in my life. My dad wasn't a part of my life, but my grandfather, man, he was my hero. Um, yeah, there's a few people in my life that are really big, but not a lot, and it was especially being the oldest. I was the oldest. I have a couple younger brothers, and I always had to push myself. And not only that, I think always hearing my mom's voice in my head. She raised me the best that she could, and um, a lot of the morals and values that she had are instilled in me, and I'm so thankful for that because it's like man, today it's like almost like the kids don't listen. It's like you could tell your kids something, and then you'll have a buddy come over, tell your kids the same thing, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, do you know what John just said? He just said it." It's like, I've been telling you that for years. having and surrounding yourself with like-minded people, right? It's just like I know in the last number of years, I cut a lot of ties and just looked who was important in my life, who was there for me, who always helped me up when I was down and who always gave me the best advice. And, I look at so many people that I've helped along the way, and I never asked for anything back. I just helped them along the way. But, it was just releasing and getting rid of dead weight that was holding you back from reaching your full potential. And we have to do that. You know, once you do that, it's like you're gonna see who your true friends are. And I guarantee you throughout your whole life, you'll have a handful. A handful, you could know 100 people, 200 people, whittle that down to who your true friends are, and it'll be two or three, maybe four. So yeah, keep your circle small, keep your head up, lead by the example that you set for others to follow. Be aware of the BS and the garbage that's being pumped out, and don't be subjected to it. And yeah, man, if you trip and stumble and you fail, that's okay. That's part of life. I've done it 100 times. So you learn from it. Don't beat yourself up, man. Life is short. Don't try to grow up too fast. And just like you said as well, those baby steps that are the most important steps that you'll take in your life. So don't try to rush it. Learn as much as you can, and yeah, strive to be the best that you can be, because practice makes improvement. That's right. Because
Nice one. Nice one.
there's only one perfect being, and that's Muntu. All right. And practice makes improvement. The more we practice, the more you improve to be the best that you can be. So,
Oh, I like that. That's deadly. Um, Perfect. Well, it's do you got any kind of upcoming projects or collaborations you want to speak of, or is there anything on the
well, going
burns?
miles. I'm writing a script. I'm also writing an autobiography. It's going to be called "Setting the Record Straight." I think a lot of things that people don't know about me, which they think they know because media wrote it. You have to understand that media um, is all referenced to by and controlled. There's a system in place that it has to go through government before they could put anything out there. And what you're reading or what you're seeing on TV, the news, I could say that 98% of it is probably not true. It's like they show you what they want to show you. They feed you what they want to feed you. It's we need to be aware of that. But yeah, I got a couple of films that I'm doing as well, and try to get my I got a feature that I'm writing. Got another children's book that I'm putting out. Um, yeah, uh, I do what I love and love what I do. So it's like I'm never working. You'll never work a
That's
day in your life when you get there.
that's awesome. Just when you're saying that, I don't want to bug you too much, but like when you say like scripts and movies and things, and I'm sure a lot of the youth and a lot of anybody like watching this or listening is like, how does a person even just get started, or where's the guy look to even get going on that?
um, I think okay, so beginners, if you ever thought about being a star that you could be, make sure that your reading is good, because you have to read scripts. And like me, I basically taught myself to read through Archie comics, right? Archie comics and Conan comics. Okay. Um, once your reading is getting up there, start the memorizing. It takes a lot of work. And remember, it's like when I first started memorizing one or two lines, oh my god, it was so stressful. It took me a long time. But you train your brain, you train your mind to do it, right? It's like anything that you do. Now I can memorize 10 pages of dialogue in like an hour. So you train yourself, work on that, get yourself an 8x10, a headshot, get a professional done. A lot of people probably could use their iPhones. Are Man, the quality is so good these days. Uh, Put yourself on Actors Access. So remember that. There's a lot to be learned in being an extra. So if you can be an extra, like get on set and see what it's about. The other thing that you can do also is how to be an actor. Go on YouTube, take a look, and I think I was mentioning this before. There's so much good that could come from social media if you're using it in a good way, right? You could learn anything about anything just by typing into Google how to do this, how to do that. Yeah, and if you're super serious and you've done everything that I've said, contact my brother here who's put in the podcast, and he'll contact me, and I'll get you in touch with an agent.
Yeah, because it's just like you say, everybody like you come out right, just swinging, and then it's like, oh, what do I do
Yeah,
now? And no one even you don't even know the
boy.
first step, right? So it's just
And
hard.
the final thing,
Um,
do not get discouraged because you could do audition after audition after audition. You could do 100 auditions before you land one gig. Okay, so if you're serious, don't get discouraged. Give the casting directors something different. Give them something that they haven't seen before. Like, don't come out there and you're like, let's see, grab one of my kids' cards here. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon attacks to 20. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be off camera and say, and during your next turn, give your opponent 20 or more. Don't, yeah, give it pizzazz, give it
yeah.
life, give it something that they haven't seen before. I guarantee you, they'll look at you twice.
Oh, that's awesome. And there's lots of opportunity out there, right? Like obviously I'm not in that world, but just from what I see on the outside, like with being indigenous and one of my buddies he's a guest a while ago, like John Langdon, he said
Mm,
that. He's like, it's gonna be cool. It's cool to be indigenous. Everyone wants to be indigenous, right? And they're giving a lot of opportunity to indigenous filmmakers, and a lot of people are doing some great things with some great shows and movies. So it's definitely out there. It's just a matter of
boy,
pushing
John
through, right?
Langdon.
So
That's the
that's
small world that we live in. John Langdon. I think his wife is my wife's cousin. Uh, yeah, we're all connected.
yeah. Army man,
Yeah,
army man. That's it. That's awesome. Well, deadly man. Well, I for sure will thank you for that advice. And as far as people finding you, how can people find you or follow you, and where would that be?
goingmiles.org. That's her website. Or my agent Daryl Mork. You could get a hold of me through there. Or yeah, probably. I mean, you can see what I'm doing also on social media, Dakota_House on Instagram. But if you do send me a message on Instagram and I don't reply, don't be offended because I just don't do that anymore. Um, but if you send a message to my agent or to the goingmiles.org, yeah, I will definitely hear about that stuff right away. And yeah, just want to say I hope that you know some of my story or some of this talk helps someone along the way, and allows them to remove some of the smoke in the mirrors and to be able to focus on themselves. And life is what you make it, not what it makes you. It doesn't matter the hand that you're dealt, it's how you play it. So play it well, play it close to the heart, and never stand in your own way of success because you have it in you to succeed at the highest levels.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'll be sure to put those links and stuff in the show notes, and if there's any community leaders or youth coordinators and stuff too, I'll make sure that Going Miles is out there and can hopefully bring them to the community and go
Right
from
on.
there too, right?
Cool,
So that'll
brother.
be massive. Um, yeah, oh, like, huge honor, buddy. Huge honor. Never think in a million years to talk to you. So it's great, and I really appreciate your time. And yeah, this is awesome.
Respect.
Thanks
Keep
a lot.
doing what you're doing. You're changing a lot of lives for a good way. So.